My name is Patrick and I make Hollywood and surfboards, which I've been doing for about 6 years now. I live in Fish Hoek, Cape Town, and I've been surfing pretty much all my life. There's just something about wood that's really beautiful and very satisfying to work with, and they're really great to surf on wood boards too. It is a passion project, yeah, and a crazy project. I have no woodworking experience. I'm actually a journalist, so the two don't necessarily go together. But I started making them and just got hooked. So this is my garage and my man cave. I've got a couple of boards on the go here. This is a 11-foot big wave gun for surfing some outer reefs in Cape Town. This is a beautiful single fin which I'm busy glassing at the moment. It's got a black pin line on it, 8 foot long. I started out with my mission was I wanted to make an environmentally friendly board. It just seemed crazy to me that we were still stuck with foam, which doesn't biodegrade and is really polluting to make. And that was my mission. And I still am trying my hardest to consider the environment in everything I do. Even though a lot of the wood can be imported, it is still arguably better for the environment because it's a sustainable product. The wood is sourced, some of it's grown locally, like for example this board over here is a combination of redwood, and that wood was locally grown, pretty much sourced that wood off wood piles, so it's upcycled or recycled or whatever you want to call it. So this is probably about the most environmentally friendly surfboard that you would find in South Africa today, because it takes away the kind of petrol originated foam, and it uses locally grown wood which was on a wood pile and pretty much had been thrown away, and it turns it into a beautiful surfboard which you can surf and which will last a really long time. I think people will always, there's such a huge industry behind mainstream board production. But I think there's enormous value in introducing something that's completely different. It shows that there's another way of looking and thinking about surfing and about the production of surfboards. And the most amazing thing is the way people respond to wood. They have an almost visceral response to it when they see a surfboard made out of wood. It's an emotional response and it's a heartfelt response, and that's really encouraging. You know, it shows that people are, I believe, attracted to natural products. They do believe that there are better ways of doing things. It's hectic, eh? It's like a revolving credit, but something just keeps me going. I was never a big spender, so I've had times where I've had my last paycheck and I've gone off to buy wood to make surfboards, which kind of leaves you thinking, you know, driving there and driving back, what the hell am I doing? But you got to do it anyway. It's almost like an addiction, except it's a pretty healthy one. So each of these boards takes between 40 and 60 hours to make. This one over here is probably going to end up taking me about 100 hours. It's an enormous amount of work for each board. Each part of the process has to be done with maximum precision. So it all begins basically, I buy a whole lot of wood. I'm a bit low on stock now, but I'll get in planks of wood like this, often 4.5 meters long and this thick and wide. So it comes in raw form, and I'll cut it up on the table saw, plane it, edge it so that everything fits together. And then I'll make the decks, put the frame together, build up the rails, laminate the top, shape the rails, finish sand the board through various grits of sandpaper, and then glass it, and then sand and polish it, and then it's ready to surf. In terms of who you identify as who can buy one, I initially thought that I would be targeting mainly older guys, but it's interested me how many younger guys are also interested in surfing these boards. And I wonder if maybe it's because younger people have a growing environmental consciousness and they're aware of environmental issues more than older people who have grown up with a different way of being and living. There are, that said, a lot of older guys that are getting back into surfing, or are more into the laid back lifestyle issues around surfing. Wood responds differently in water because it is slightly heavier than foam, and so what I've tried to do with my models is to use wood in the kind of shapes that really work well, and therefore I have slightly flatter rockers, so there's more planing area on the water, so the boards are really fast, and I found that really lends itself to retro shapes like the fish, which was first developed in the 1970s, and using twin keel fins, so there's very little resistance going through the water, and those are just super fun to surf. This one's a real beauty. It's made out of western red cedar. I don't know if you can zoom in on the grain here, but it's just got the most awesome grain. And when you get this piece of wood and you cut it open on the table saw and you see that grain on the inside, it's just the most beautiful thing. It's very fine grained. If you look at that, it's a very fine grained wood, which indicates that it's grown very slowly. But it's also got these wonderful swirls in it. If you look at the way that swirls up and down at the bottom by the fin. I mean, you could not get anything more beautiful. It just really is amazing. When you're floating out on the ocean on one of these things and you're waiting for a set, you just look down at the grain and you're bored, and it's almost hypnotic. It's beautiful. It really is special. Yes, there's a website, www.groundsforsurfboards.co.za. Lots of pictures up there, blog posts, and interesting material about wood boards. Surfing's a really beautiful thing, so it's great to be able to match something that I do out of the water with what I do in the water, and it's pretty healthy.